Hello, hello. Alright, new month, new deck. Well, I guess I did play this at the end of last season, so... not quite that new. Hello, hello. Alright, new month, new deck. Well, I guess I did play this at the end of last season, so... no, let's do this. Not quite that new. Whoops. Sorry about the feedback.
Versus Uther. I will fight with honor. Victory or death!
Sorry, I'm a little bit disoriented while I'm setting all this stuff up. Alright, so we're playing the Hobgoblin MechWarrior deck that I'm working on. It currently runs Warsong Commander, and one of the things I've been really kind of debating is whether Warsong Commander is actually good in this deck. While it does have synergy with the majority of the cards... while it does have synergy with the majority of the cards, it doesn't actually do an awful lot for me. I'm actually tempted to play the Cruel Task on this. It feels wrong, but what I want to do is I want to set up a Hobgoblin turn where I can drop the Warbot at the same time. I guess I could just play the Warper and kill it off. That gives me a one-turn window before True Silver comes down. So there shouldn't be an efficient way to get rid of Mech Warper right now.
Reporting for duty.
So now we can play Hobgoblin. We can coin out the Anoyotron, and we can play the Warbot for free. We might not actually want to kill one of these tokens, because then Consecrate doesn't kill the Mech Warper. But I would want to kill this if I want to protect myself from Quartermaster a few turns from now. But yeah, as I was saying about Warsong Commander earlier, the reason why it's really up for debate is because even though it gets the minions into play and gives them charge, it's hard to actually get real value from charge, because charge usually just allows you to maybe hit them in the face, so it might be worth, 1 or 2 points of face damage. Alternately, you can use it to trade favorably with the minions on the board, but that can only go so far when your minions are very small. So, for example, if he had like a Druid of, say a Sludge Belcher, for example, charging out any of the guys I have in my hand right now wouldn't really do anything against a Sludge Belcher in terms of value. Alright, so it looks like he's setting up for the Consecrate. Which means maybe I just don't play anything this turn.
Battle commencing.
Ultimately, I think I could have gone more aggressive, but this deck doesn't have like the finishing power that I'd like it to yet. Like, it doesn't have many charge finishers. With Warsong Commander, it's the only way I can get charge. Alright, so Crafty Wrath is asking, why am I doing this with Warrior and not a Warlock? I'm doing this because mainly I want to see if I can get a build of it for Warrior working, whereas the Warlock ones already exist. I'm not trying to do things that have already been done right now. Granted, like, this isn't an entirely new idea in itself, but I like the challenge. Alright, so this is like the pivotal moment where it's like, alright, does Warsong Commander actually net me any value? Well, here it nets me, I think, 2 damage.
No problem. No problem. Job done.
And if the Warsong Commander worked like it used to before GVG, I could play Dr. Boom and I could actually charge out the Boom bots, but as it is, I can't do that now.
Let the pain speak to me.
Sorry if I'm distracted, I'm still juggling a few things around. Uh-huh. This is very awkward. I mean, I guess I punch in anyways, as these guys would die to concentrate anyways, and it just kind of punches through the shield. It allows the boom bot to kill the Acolyte of Pain.
I've got the beast in my sail.
Okay, so he's getting pretty close to death, but again, I need to draw a weapon. It's like the only way. This works too. Get some Jeeves value here.
Let me get that.
I think I used to run Cult Masters before I put Jeeves into this deck. And the Cult Masters relied too much on me having favorable board presence.
Defensive systems online.
Let the pain speak to me.
Question is, do you want to execute this? Does this actually save us any damage? I'll save it in case he gets something big. Sorry if I'm not responding to chat right now. My chat window is closed. I need to open it up again.
Let me think. Put your faith in the light.
Shields up. Red alert.
Alright, so we have that execute we saved, which will let us punch through this Tyrion. I think given the board stay right now, I think he's dead. Because he'd need to be able to clear at least 3 minions. Otherwise, I just damage the Tyrion, execute, and win.
Ramming speed. Over.
Alright, first win of the day. Not bad. And I mean, the deck has potential. The question for me is, does it have consistency? Like, sometimes you can win over, on the back of, like, strong MechWarrior starts. But other times, you just draw all the cards in the wrong order, and it's a disaster. Alright, have my chat window up, so I can respond to chat. I mean, that seemed like a pretty standard Paladin deck. So at least we can compete with the Paladin decks. Granted, if a better, like a top-level player is playing it, maybe it might not have been a winnable game. Anyways, we're going to mulligan assuming this is Mech Mage. Warbot isn't particularly strong in this, but I'll keep it just to find out what... how good it is in the opening against Mech Mage. Like, a lot of what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be experimenting. Yeah, it makes me sad that Warsong Commander doesn't charge the boom bots. Alright, so we can curve out here. The only decision is whether we want to punch this Snow Chugger. I don't think so. He's going to have to use his hero power to be able to punch through the Noyotron. Well, yeah. I don't think I want to attack it. And forcing Mech Mages to use their hero power instead of developing their board is actually a really good thing. Alright, so we follow up with the Frothing Berserker here, and we continue to go face. A Frothing Berserker will probably kill the Snow Chugger next turn, or we'll just axe it, or we'll drop the Screwjank. I mean, we have a lot of options at our disposal. Wait, what? Okay. Well, that game doesn't really count. So I don't know why GVG broke Warsong Commander, the technical reason that is. Because Undertaker has similar wording to Warsong Commander, I believe, and Undertaker never suffered that problem. You could play Undertaker and then play a Dr. Boom, and then the Undertaker get buffed twice from the Boom bots. Oh, that's right.
Garrosh versus Gul'dan. Your soul shall be mine. Victory or death.
This seems like a pretty decent. We're going to mulligan assuming he's Zoo, although I haven't seen Zoo in the longest time. Cogmaster followed by Noyotron seems pretty good. Having Hobgoblin in hand gives me the option to hold these cards if I really, really want to. And then I think Task is something I could consider throwing out. But again, I'm going to keep a lot of things just to see how they fare in the early game. So, I'm thinking, if I play Cogmaster turn 1, Mech Warper turn 2, turn 3, I can drop Hobgoblin and coin out the Noyotron.
I can fix anything.
Alternately, I could have held on to the Cogmaster and saved it for the Hobgoblin. Looks like he's playing Handlock, or something like Handlock. That gives me... Well, he can't Hellfire next turn, but this would also commit me, like, greatly into a Hellfire board. If I Mech Warper, coin Mech Warper. I don't think I can pass it up, though. And I'm going to save the Noyotron for the Hobgoblin next turn. Okay, so I think that was, next turn is, like, his major turn. So we play Hobgoblin, we play a Noyotron, and we just go off base here. Like, assuming this is Handlock, I do need to be a little bit careful. Him playing Hellfire next turn allows him to drop Molten Giants the turn after that. And then I won't really have an answer for it. I guess, you know, we just kind of go all in here. And then we can use Jeeves as a means to hopefully draw into an execute if he drops Moltens and stuff. Alright, so he has a Farseer, that puts him at 8. That's not quite enough, he still needs something like a Dark Bomb. Alright, so now he's at 1. I guess we'll play the Jeeves here. This tells me he doesn't have Molten Giants, which is really good for me. How could this go wrong for me? I mean, Shadow Flame maybe? Maybe, Ancient Watcher, Shadow Flame. Although if he had Ancient Watcher, he might have played that instead of the Farseer instead. Although the Farseer does curve better. Alright, we'll play the Jeeves first. 2 cards I think is good enough. This prevents him from tapping, and it makes a weapon a lethal draw. Also, Warsong Commander. Okay, that works. So all these things are good here. Okay, so he needs to draw into a big heal.
Shields up.
That doesn't quite do it. Easy game. Lethal Jeeves. I mean, we're 3-0 from rank 16. That's not a very big accomplishment. But as far as deck development goes, you know, at the very least, this deck doesn't fall flat on his face. Like, if your deck can't even beat very low-ranked opponents, then that's not very promising for your deck. 3-0. Hello, Fee. Fee was here. Right, up against Rogue. We're going to assume he's playing Oil Rogue. I actually don't know how I should mulligan against Oil Rogue. I assume MechWarrior is a good keep. I think the idea is I just want to pressure him. And he's going to look at MechWarrior and he's going to want to remove the MechWarrior as soon as he sees it, I think. So I'm not really trying to get value out of its passive. I'm just going to use it as a means to soak up his removal. So I can play into bigger, more threatening things as we go on. Clockwork Gnome. So maybe he's playing more of like a aggro rogue. Like backspace style. You know, I think Just Saiyan was running a list as well. Alternately, we could have held the MechWarrior to protect it this turn, but I don't think that made sense. So he coins out Deadly Poison. Okay. That's fine. Him using the coin on Deadly Poison could be a good thing for us. Alright, so we'll play the Frothing Berserker, even though I think the Cruel Task might have been a better play if I want to play for value, but I want to play for board, and I want to play kind of defensively, I think. Yeah, because he definitely is more of the aggro rogue. Ooh, that's brave. I don't know if I would have done that. Leaving a Frothing Berserker up? That is risky. Alright, so maybe he has a Blade Flurry, right? I can Cruel Task, kill the Gnome, and then I can drop the Neotron. The Neotron is pretty annoying with the Deadly Poison on his weapon. What are my alternate plays? I could play the Death Spite, or I could play the Piloted Shredder. Or, I mean, or I could play Jeeves, but that's just silly. Alright, we'll go for the task play. drop the Neutron. I think I'm even going to get rid of the Cold Light here, so he can't Shadow Step it. Maybe that's wrong if he has Blade Flurry. Actually, I think that's super wrong if he has Blade Flurry. But the Onoyotron will live. Alright, so he spends an Eviscerate on it because it represents a lot of threat. Now what does he do? And he drops an Onoyotron of his own. Okay.
No problem.
So we want to preserve the Divine Shield on this Onoyotron.
No problem.
Or do we? I mean, we could attack, play the Piloted Shredder. Alternately, I could attack with the Cruel Task and then use the Death Spite to kill it. Because as long as I have this Divine Shield taunt up, it makes the Deadly Poison weapon very poor unless he has a Blade Flurry or a Sap. So, like, I really want to keep it if I can. But it also stunts my board development considerably. I suppose if I do pop the shield on my own,
No problem.
then it opens me up to Flurry again when I play Shredder. So I'm going to preserve it. So the awkward thing here is that I have a Death Spite, which will kill my own task and pop my own shield if I attack with it.
I wonder.
I see
Like here, playing Lotha becomes incredibly awkward. I mean, dealing with the Lotha becomes incredibly awkward. So how can I deal with this?
now.
Alright, I'm just gonna play the Shredder here and go all face. I'm gonna hold on to the weapon even though I have another one in hand. Alright, but we do have Dr. Boom next turn, and then we have Jeeves for late game. I feel pretty good about this game so far. Granted, he could probably burst me out of nowhere. If you're running Cold Lights, and you're running things like Deckhand, then I should be very worried about my HP. So I'm actually going to take this out, I think. Well, I could execute it too. But then I can't play Dr. Boom. Alright, so I will take it out. Ooh, Snow Chugger's great here. And I'm still trying to figure out a way to get rid of my weapon. It might make sense to actually attack with it, as holding onto this weapon this long is like lost opportunity cost of like attacking with the Death Spite over 3 or 4 turns. Is that's 12 damage. But this is all a lot of experimentation, so it's too bad that I sacrificed my Frothing earlier, because having the Warsong Commander actually becomes quite useful. And it's one of the things I'm heavily debating about. Because, like, in this particular situation, if you look at my hand, the Warsong Commander only pairs with Jeeves and Acolyte, both of which are fairly expensive for the amount of power you get into play. Alright, second deckhand. I'm, like, terribly afraid of Tinker's, like, prep Tinker's Oil, maybe another leader poison, and a flurry, and then I'm dead. Okay, but the Snow Chugger, I guess, represents too much threat. That means he doesn't have a good way to remove it. Alright, I think this turn I will play the Warsong Commander. Because I need to attack, and I guess I wouldn't mind drawing the card from the Acolyte of Boom. Acolyte of Pain. Alright, so we have, what, 4, 11, 12, 13. 13 points of damage, plus Boom Bots. That's 15. Alright, we'll just go for it. Let's attack. 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 Just in case we draw a Cruel Taskmaster. Hero power just in case we die. The next turn we just Death Spite and win. Like, I got a little bit of value out of Warsong Commander this turn, but I wouldn't say that it's game-breaking value. Like, all the value I got of it was 1 extra damage, which is enough to guarantee me lethal with Death Spite.
I can fix anything.
So I'm asked, why would I play the 3-mana charge minion before hitting? Even though my Warsong Commander gets damaged, this sequencing means I can't give my Acolyte of Pain charge unless I play the Warsong Commander first. And I wanted to give it charge for that extra 1 damage to guarantee me Death Spite lethal, and to also draw the card from Death Spite. Also, I didn't think he had, like, the 1 damage on the Warsong Commander didn't matter, as either it would be massively overkilled or it couldn't be killed. Is this the same player? No, it's a different player.
Watch your back.
Victory or death!
Huh, interesting hand. Alright, if I play Cogmaster, Coin Cogmaster, how can this go disastrously wrong for me? I don't know. Let's find out. I think like, maybe on turn 3, you could backstab SI Agent. Yeah, Warsong Commander works a little bit differently from the Tundra Rhino. Actually, really like Tundra Rhino in Hunter. There are some, like, Hunter combo decks I like to play with it, because it combos, like, really interestingly with Direwolf Alpha and Timberwolf. And Savannah Highmane and Scavenging Hyena. Like, this... I'm looking at the way he's playing his hand, and if he's thinking about it with no mana, it's like... Maybe he's thinking about prepping out Deadly Poison. So what is a nightmare for us? Deadly Poison, Attack, Flurry. Anything less than that, I feel pretty good about. Okay. Interesting choice. I think that signals that he doesn't have Flurry. Okay, so we have a chance to play Warsong Commander now. It's very tempting. The way he used his Eviscerate to kill the Cogmaster suggests that he's going to have an awkward time removing the minions I play. I still have the Enoyotron in play, because I think if he had Deadly Poison Flurry, he might have used it last turn instead of using the Eviscerate to kill a Cogmaster. So let's try to get some Warsong Commander value here. An alternate way to play this is to play Warsong Commander only when you can play a minion with it on the same turn.
I am ready to learn. I am ready to learn.
Alright, so we're actually squeezing him for value pretty hard. In terms of, like, he has to use his resources in a really inefficient manner. I like playing a Noyotron and Cruel Task here, then kill the Teacher. Alright, yeah, so we play Noyotron, we play Task. Cogmaster gets buffed to 5 attack. Takes out the Teacher. We'll preserve the... Do we need to preserve the Divine Shield? I mean, I would do it just out of practice, I think. Because now he needs to spend 2 mana to use his hero power to be able to tap off this shield. And the next turn we can play Jeeves and Warbot and draw 2 cards. I have to be careful about Jeeves, though, because he's getting pretty low in terms of the number of cards in hand. And if I can't finish him off, then Jeeves might actually end up backfiring for me. Because Piloted Shredder develops my board a lot better. Whatever we do, we're going to attack with everything. Like, I haven't dealt with this situation before. It's like, do I want to cash in on Jeeves now, or is it better to play more minions? I think getting the Piloted Shredder into play is important, so I'm going to do that first. And then play Jeeves maybe next turn. Hopefully I draw something that I can play at the same time as Jeeves, so I can draw 3 cards. Okay, so that's a second Deadly Poison. I'm pretty vulnerable to Flurry next turn, so I might actually want to cash in some of these guys for value if I can't finish him off. It's a shame I can't play Hobgoblin with the Jeeves. So let's say I play Jeeves, right? How much damage is that? That's 10. I can sacrifice 3 damage to make it so that I first don't get wrecked by Blade Flurry. And second, it will protect my Warsong Commander somewhat. We'll play Jeeves. And how do I want to do this? I don't think it's right to attack the Jeeves into that.
No problem.
Battle commencing.
This gives me a pretty high likelihood of drawing into lethal.
Let me get that.
Someone asked, do minions buffed by Hobgoblin still gain charge? Yes, they do. Unless they're buffed over 3 attack.
I am ready to learn.
So, like, say I have a Cogmaster, right? Cogmaster with a mech in play is a 3-2. If I have Hobgoblin in play, it gets buffed to a 5-4. With Warsong Commander in play, it doesn't gain charge. Which I believe is also a bug. if it follows the logic that cards used to before before GVG came out. Because what used to work before are things like the Bloodsail Raider, which gains attack power equal to what the attack of your weapon. Before, you could charge them out with Warsong Commander, even if they were buffed over 3 attack. Like, say you had an Arcanite Reaper, that's 5 attack on your weapon. Don't the buffs go in order of the creatures played? They should. But the Warsong Commander buff? Well, that's a good question, actually. I don't actually know if they go in the order they played exactly. Deathspite seems a little slow, but Deathspite's also a really strong card. Alright, I'll try keeping this hand again. I need to start keeping notes on which cards are good in my opening hand. Because I'm just sort of mulliganing almost randomly. A lot of times I'm just keeping whatever I get. But a lot of times, like, sometimes you're not satisfied with just a 1-drop. You want to mulligan into something better than, say, a Warbot.
Put this apple on your head.
Alright, so Mech Warper here, and I guess we take out the Juggler. We can't take out the Juggler. What am I talking about? For some reason I thought it was a Cogmaster. Alright. Alright, so this is kind of awkward for us. Because he can take out the Warbot for free. But that's what I was saying before. Sometimes it's not good to be content just getting nice juggle. Getting a 1-drop. Sometimes you want a specific 1-drop. Right, so we punch this, play the Cogmaster. I guess we play the Neutron too, it protects our board a little bit. We're up against Mech Zoo. And things like Deathspite actually buy us a huge amount of tempo against Mech Zoo, which, like, potentially helps us just dominate the board. Dominate the game, rather. I don't think I'll be playing Deathspite this turn. If I... okay. So I think I'm going to be punching the Neutron here. And then maybe buffing the Warbot.
I wonder.
Huh. Deathspite is actually something I'm considering taking out. Because the Whirlwind effect hurts me sometimes more than it benefits me. Alright, I'm pretty sure I want to attack the Neutron into his Neutron. And then maybe I buff... What do I buff?
I must choose. Defensive systems online.
Battle commencing.
I don't think this is right either, but... It gives me 9 damage worth of power next turn.
I am ready.
Might consider starting to go face soon. So, second Deathspite. Might make sense to actually play it. As opposed to playing the Pilot Shredder, because we have 2 weapons to work through. So we use the Deathspite to attack the Harvest Golem, I think. I think maybe we just go all face. No, I think I want to protect the Cogmaster best I can. Or maybe I just force him to trade into it. Alright, somebody says face. Let's go all face. Let's go off ace.
Battle commencing.
The reason why this is actually incredibly iffy is if he drops Argus in some combination, it actually becomes really difficult for me to deal with. Oh, thanks, Loinplanks. He said, by the way, you're a really fun player to watch, and I hope your stream becomes really popular. Now, I'm hoping to stream more. Actually, I will be setting up a specific streaming schedule. Where I'll be streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays, usually 5 to 7 Eastern Standard Time. Today I started a little bit later. So over 3 turns, we can kill him with Death's Bite. But let's play a little bit of board control before we do that. I think attacking the Doom Guard is worth because it takes out the 1/1s. And between the Mech Warper and the Pilot Shredder, I think they're probably worth 4 damage anyways.
Get in there and fight, maggot!
Alright, I guess it's face time. I guess I could have even played the War Axe here. Drop the Whirlwind effect. That actually might have been better. I think that was a little bit hasty. I could have played the Fiery War Axe and it would have killed the Damage Golem and the Abusive Sergeant, giving him no way to kill the Piloted Shredder with the minions he has on board. But I guess it's good that I saved it here because now I still have my Death's Bite. And that's definitely a mistake. That gives me such an easy clear next turn. I'm tempted to just attack him and then kill him with the axe next turn. Is that too greedy? So he needs Argus for this to work. Heck, let's just do it. I think I'm far ahead enough that he needs a very specific combination of cards for this to go wrong. He needs to drop Argus, he needs to be able to kill the Frothing Berserker. So if he drops like a buff minion like Abusive Sergeant or Dark Iron Dwarf, that's not enough. Which means he's going to need to tap for the second card. Which means he needs to play a 2-mana minion, Argus.
Something needs
Nope,
tinkering.
that doesn't do it. It's close. I also could have not played my Frothing before the Whirlwind. But it's just one of those things that it's really hard not to do because you just like to see it get really big, even if it's not the right play. I mean, for me personally, I feel like the Warsong Commander has been kind of lackluster so far.
versus Malfurion. I must protect the one.
Alright, so up against Druid, and I'm not really sure about a Noyochan here. We'll throw back the Warsong Commander. I'm also not sure about Acolyte of Pain. And like, actually, all of these are very questionable. I think a Noyotron is good if I have a really aggressive start. It makes a Cogmaster draw for turn 1 really good. So I might keep this. These two. I keep the Fire War Axe just as insurance to deal with different scenarios of early minions that he can play. For example, if he drops a Senjin, then I can use the axe to help clear it and not lose too much tempo. And then I think playing Anoyachon on turn 2 here is really annoying. I could even coin out the Cogmaster. I wish I drew the Cogmaster earlier, but, you know, what can you do about that? If I play the Noyotron now and save my coin, I can play the Piloted Shredder next turn, which is a really good, solid play.
What now?
And then I think I like that because if I draw into Hobgoblin later, then I can use the Hobgoblin to buff the Cogmaster. So I don't think I'm in a rush to play it now. Like, his turn 3 plays usually are pretty, like, not exciting. Like, this is not exciting. So if I had the Cogmaster in play, I would have gotten 3 more damage in, and maybe even more after that. But I really wanted to get the Piloted Shredder into play, because turn 4 he could play something a little bit more difficult for me to deal with. Like, Keeper here, I can use the Piloted Shredder to kill it off if I want to. I also don't want to play into Swipe too hard. Like, I could Axe, but alright. I guess we could play into Swipe a little bit.
I can fix anything.
And do I want to play into Mind Control Techie? I kind of wanted to play Acolyte and Taskmaster on the same turn, but if I play it now, what will happen? He'll probably swipe the Acolyte, but if I play the Fire War Axe, it opens me up to Harrison. What am I more scared of? I think I'm more scared of Swipe. Alright, so we'll play the Acolyte here, because it's still going to draw me a card, and I'm still going to have board presence from that. Opens me up to fewer things, and I think because he has no mechs... Alright, so we got, like, the play we wanted, but I don't know if this was the correct decision. So we play Warbot. I guess it's too early for Jeeves. So we'll just get to work by dealing damage with Death's Bite. And then hopefully, like, I can actually get value out of these minions before they die. I mean, I can get value out of them before I have to attack with my Death's Bite, so I don't end up killing my own minions. Alright, so second swipe. I'm, like, almost okay with that, but not really. Because in my hand aren't a lot of great minions that I can play on an empty board. Like, I might even just attack here. No, that doesn't... Does that make sense? Because I might need the Death's Bite to punch through in terms of damage.
What now?
So awkward here. Well, let's see. He's down both swipes, so... I really don't want to risk playing my Jeeves for no value. I think that's the thing I'm most concerned about. But he's already down 2 swipes. This might be okay. But yeah, the thing about Warsong Commander is charging 1 power minions isn't very exciting. That's exactly one of the reasons why it's a card that is in a very gray area for me. The main reason why it's potentially good is combined with Frothing Berserker. See, this is the reason why I wouldn't want to play Jeeves on the board the way I just did. I think Jeeves was probably the main thing that would keep me in this game. And then, if you look here, the Warsong Commander also isn't terribly exciting. I think playing the Jeeves was a pretty big mistake, because I think up to 3 cards, or like up to 3 cards I would have drawn from it would have basically made the difference here. Give me the finishing power that I need.
Where shall I strike?
Alright, but I do have the execute, which is kind of nice. So I run the task into the Druid Claw, execute the Druid Claw, punch punch. I guess I could just run the Clockmaster in. I forgot about that. I think he's running out of ways to remove my minions, so if I use my weapon instead of sacrificing my minion here, I think I have more damage in the long run. Yeah, like Death Spite is another card that is really like questionable for me, as it combines with Frothing and Acolyte, but it conflicts with just about everything else. This deck is trying to be a lot of different things at the same time, and I don't know if it's actually accomplishing anything by doing that. In a top deck war, we lose unless we draw into Dr. Boom or we draw into Jeeves right now. So playing that Jeeves on an empty board without getting any value out of him was extremely bad for us. This loss, I think, is more on me than the deck itself, but sometimes when you make misplays like that, a solid deck can still carry you through. Whereas the chances of me winning right now are incredibly, incredibly low. Maybe he didn't want to cycle Wrath because he's trying to save himself from dealing... Actually, yeah, why didn't he cycle Wrath? I guess it's like rank 13 plays, right?
Let the pain speak to me.
Well played.
Someone asks, how about Worgen instead of Death Spite? Like Raging Worgen? Raging Worgen is a card I have been thinking about. But I don't know if it's actually... Like, the problem is it's very easy to die. Whereas Frothing Berserker, with that 1 extra toughness, actually makes a pretty big deal. But if I'm gonna, like, not use the Frothing Berserker, Warsong Commander, Death Spite combo, then maybe I can shift some things around. Like, the one thing I do like about Raging Worgen is that because I run things like a Noyotron, turn 1 a Noyotron into turn 2, turn 2 Noyotron into turn 3 Raging Worgen could be really powerful if they don't have a way to remove it. But yeah, if that game taught me one lesson, it's never, ever, ever play Jeeves for 0 value.
You asked for it.
Victory or death!
We're gonna mulligan, assuming this is Mech Mage again. Coin Mech Warper into Warbot's pretty decent. Having the Taskmaster is also a good follow-up, so I'm gonna keep the Task. And I'm gonna throw back the Warsong Commander. We'll play Warbot now.
Battle detected.
Actually, no, what am I doing? Ugh, I totally spaced out here. I should have coined out the Mech Warper and then played both Warbots. That is just silly. Alternately... Alright, let's just see what he does first. Because I did that, I might change my whole line of play. Okay. Alright, because I have Hobgoblin, I'm going to save the other Warbot and the Cogmaster. Which means I'm going to use my Cruel Task to swing some weight around. I guess I should get rid of the Mana Worm.
Battle commencing.
Yeah, that was a pretty big mistake. I think coining out the MechWarrior turn 1 into two Warbots would have been so strong, especially with the follow-up of having the task behind it. I also would like to get more Hobgoblin value. But I don't know if I can wait another turn. Like, if I wait one more turn, I can play Hobgoblin with Warbot and Cogmaster. That's actually a lot of value, so I think I should wait. Which means I will play the MechWarrior here. And then, I don't know what the heck he's running. I should save Execute.
No problem.
Even though I could play it for, like, minimal value. It might be just enough, because, I don't really want to use Execute as necessarily as a means of killing a big minion. A lot of times it's better to save Execute more as a tempo play. Alright, so Hobgoblin's pretty nice here with the Warbot and the Cogmaster. I don't even need to use coin, but now should I execute something? I still don't think that's right. I should probably attack with the MechWarrior here to make my Hobgoblin a little bit more protected. So now, between these two minions and his hero power, he needs to decide whether he wants to kill a Hobgoblin or if he wants to ping down the MechWarrior. Otherwise, he has to use a Frostball or Fireball.
I wonder.
So another thing I've been thinking about a lot is how good are the executes in this deck? Because in a minion-oriented deck, that's as rushy as this one, the executes actually are much preferred to be minions in certain occasions. Like, I should execute this. Because I still have a second execute. And I also wanted to see if it was counterspell. And we'll get rid of that, get this enraged. Alright, so he has, what, 2 mana worms and 4 cards. And I need a Jeeves, or maybe a Dr. Boom, or maybe an Acolyte of Pain. Okay, him having used the Frostbolt on that is a considerable resource investment. So we want to protect the Frothing here. Again, like, he's stuck in a position where he needs to decide whether he wants to spend the hero power killing the Piloted Shredder, or if he wants to be able to kill the Frothing Berserker. as it is, he doesn't have enough power to kill the Frothing Berserker, but if he, say, has one spell, like say he plays Unstable Portal, then that last 1 damage he needs to finish something off can only go to one thing or the other. Oh, big draw. Really big draw. Especially since he just used his Polymorph.
What to do? What to do?
Embrace the light.
Interesting. So he's playing some sort of mid-rangey deck. Alright, let's see. How do I want to deal with this? I feel like if I play the control game here, I could probably win. So if I run myself into the Illuminator, and then I punch the Piloted Shredder... hopefully it bombs the Piloted Shredder, then I'm able to protect my Dr. Boom. But it's a Mech Warrior. Debating whether I should play Cogmaster here. It does get eaten for free, but it also might prevent him from making a bigger play. I guess I'll hold on to it for now. Alright, we'll hold on to this still too. Alright, so he has his Dr. Boom, and this is looking really poor for us. I think we just barely stabilize, but...
I can fix anything.
like, all in all, this isn't great for us. I think, like, the best way to come back is we draw Death Spite, kill off the Lotheb, then use the Whirlwind effect to kill off the Boom bots. I mean, so what went wrong? I think I wanted to save the Execute for something bigger, and something bigger did present itself in Dr. Boom. But there's this time where I wasn't able to develop minions the way I wanted to, so eventually I lost board control. Also, I think I didn't draw any of my card draw, so in terms of value, I'm running out of value very, very quickly. Oh, there's a Jeeves, and then we coin for fantastic value. Hello, Tyrannosaurus Hax. Alright, so there's our Death Spite. There's our 2 Death Spites. And let's see if he wants to use the Jeeves for value, or if he wants to just take it out. For me, I think it's better if he takes it out for me, because I draw 3 cards from it, and he draws... nothing. Alright, this Hobgoblin is going to need to wait. Assuming that's duplicate, I want to duplicate a Boombot and not Lotheb. Can I afford to give him a heal bot is the question.
I wonder.
No, I think I have to give him a Boombot. And it's not, so... So what is it? Is it Mirror Entity? Is it Ice Block? Oh, he has Pyroblast. It's a very interesting deck. I felt like that was a potentially winnable game, but it's just really difficult to navigate with the things that he's running. I think when you run into very, like, undefined decks with secrets, especially Mage, you can get very thrown off, because you get punished really hard for things like Mirror Entity if you don't play around it. But they could play something like Counterspell instead, and the responses for Counterspell and Mirror Entity, and even Duplicate, are all very different. So it's hard to play around them all at the same time. Like, one of the things about Mech Mage that made them easy to play against is that you knew that they ran Mirror Entity, and that the secret was almost never anything else.
I will crush you.
So I think I might keep this whole hand. Oh yeah, that game would have been easy if I didn't mess up turn 1. That is true. So like in my little book, I might mark that off as an actual win, but as far as stats go, I'm not going to fiddle around with it. Mech Warper start into Frauding Berserker. These cards have no synergy with each other, but what they do is they force out removals for these. So I might actually try keeping both of these. Because there's a lot of potential for this to be a lot stronger. If I draw into, say, a Warbot. Like, do I want to play straight into Axe? I guess I do. So that I can force the Axe out. But instead, he's coining out, what? Acolyte of Pain? That's actually good news for me. That tells me he doesn't have a Fiery War Axe, or he's just really greedy and really wanted to get 2 card draws out of the Acolyte. Which is going to force him... Like, this is incredibly good for tempo, because he also used his coin already. Alright, so Execute buys him a little bit of tempo back. And then, what is his turn 4 play? Maybe Piloted Shredder. So I think I want to put the Frothing into play. Actually, no. Like, I should have put the Acolyte into play, actually. Warsong Commander... Somebody asking, Warsong Commander still doesn't give certain buffs, minions, charge, and death, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that is correct. Warsong Commander still doesn't give certain buffed minions, and death rattle spawns charge. That is absolutely correct.
Ramming speed.
Let the pain speak to me.
Ramming speed.
We have the Hobgoblin. We're going to hold on to the Hobgoblin as long as possible to play as many minions as we can at the same time as we play Hobgoblin to get maximum value out of it. And at the same time, we need to kind of try to get him to use a Brawl, if at all possible. That's pretty good for us. So we can play Hobgoblin, plus Cogmaster, plus a Noyotron, and now he's going to have to Shield Slam the Hobgoblin. Which means, what, he needs to spend Hero Power, or he needs to cast Shield Block to be able to kill the Hobgoblin. That's 3 mana, and he's still not playing any minions. So the problem about playing Dr. Boom on a board like this is... okay. I think from here on we just go alt-face. Like, if he plays Brawl after the Sylvanas, we will be so, so sad. But this is already, what, 8, 10 damage? If I attack with the Death's Bite, that's 14. That puts him at 12. I mean, it's too bad Hobgoblin doesn't also work on Boombots. But yeah, like I said, we're playing into Brawl so hard here. Alright, he steals Dr. Boom. That's kind of okay, because I think he's dead anyways.
I'll fix you.
Like, the Warsound Commander could have been good if this went more wrong, but I don't know. The Warsound Commander hasn't been doing an awful lot of work. So I apologize, today might be a short stream because I started a lot later and I need to go soon, but the deck has been off to a promising start. Like I said, if the deck can't perform against lower level players, it's probably not going to perform well against higher level players.
Victory or death!
So Cogmaster Cruel, I think, is a decent combo. I might even hold on to the Death Spite because it is pretty good. I think the best ways to get value with this deck without having card draw directly are the weapons. So the weapons are actually pretty high priority in terms of keeping. I think this is Face Hunter, and we should have a pretty good matchup against Face Hunter. As long as he doesn't get like really strong Unleash or Juggle plays. We have a really good early game, and we have things like a Neutron that will eat a lot of resources. And then we can hero power behind all of that. So here, we're gonna save the Neutron.
I can fix
Battle detected.
Because we don't want to waste its Divine Shield. We actually want to clear the Haunted Creeper as best as we can before we drop the Neutron. Alright, so the Haunted Creeper suggests, alright, maybe it's not Face Hunter. Maybe it is. Okay. Can we play the racing game? Probably shouldn't. So we run the Cruel Task in, but we play the Frothing first. And then we trade, we have a really big-ass Frothing. Which means he'll have to get rid of it somehow. And then next turn we can drop a Neutron behind that, which I feel like is pretty strong.
Battle commencing.
I mean, we'll get rid of it just so there's no shenanigans. But we might have actually missed out on maybe 3 or 4 damage because of that. Alright, so he has the Owl, but the Owl means that you can't silence the Neutron, which is good news. And he's still going face. Okay.
Powering up. Portal online.
This is playing into Unleash.
Commencing.
It's questionable. Like, I should have considered maybe trading my Warbot there. And then I'll have a bigger Frothing Berserker, and then I don't get wrecked by Explosive Trap as much. But I think he pretty much has to use this Unleash to trade. Because he's too far behind. Is he crazy? Yeah, see, that's the reason why I didn't want to play things the way I did. But I did it anyways, so... Well, rest in peace, board. Rest in peace. I think I do have to sack all of this. Because otherwise, just sitting on it is not very good. Alright, look at that. The throws. But yeah, I'm like pretty sure he's playing some variant of Face Hunter. So I'm not afraid of him playing like a big Savannah High main or anything.
I'll show them. I'll show them all.
Alright, so that will activate a second explosive trap, which means I could do something like play... Actually, I just play both of these. This is the most dangerous game. He'll get Jeeves value, I'll get Jeeves value. But like the way he held his cards last turn suggested that it's hard for him to dump his hand.
For the well song!
Powering up. Portals online.
Ah, brain fart.
Engage.
No, I did that right.
Let me get that. Let me get that.
Ah, shoot, I think we lose.
For the well song!
Oh, I mean, let's see what we draw first. Alright. We'll move on. That game was a pretty big disaster. I think it mainly came from not playing around Explosive Trap and Unleash in the proper way. That loss is on me, not so much the deck. I feel like if I played that correctly, the game would have been much more in my favor. Alright, so I think this is going to be my last game, as I am really hungry, and playing with an empty stomach is probably affecting my playing a little bit. But I do think that the Face Hunter matchup can be somewhat favored. I think what happened is that the Jeeves end up punishing us a lot, and we weren't able to play around the cards. We got too greedy, basically, is the bottom line. We got too greedy trying to preserve as much as our board, and we end up playing into both Unleashed and Explosive Trap at the same time. Right, against Mech Mage, this is a pretty decent opener because the Cogmaster can contest a lot of things that he can coin out. Which means he'll need to be on the defensive unless he coins out a Noyotron. I think that's the best response to a Cogmaster opener. Alternately, he could just play a Clockwork Gnome. That's also a decent response because then I can't get any value out of the attack buff.
I can fix anything!
That, though, is really good for us. We'll play the Mech Warper now, and maybe we'll get value out of it later. Now he's forced to either Hero Power, or he... Yeah, if he Hero Powers, he doesn't develop his board. Otherwise, he plays a minion and he leaves a 3/1 on the board, which is likely to trade with whatever he plays. So this puts him really far behind on tempo already. We'll play the Acolyte here. We could even play the Jeeves, but we'll play the Acolyte here. The Jeeves, the case for playing Jeeves is actually that he's a little bit tougher. So you might actually get more mileage out of it. But from what we learned before, getting Jeeves for 0 value can be incredibly punishing. I guess that was in a control style matchup, right? Because we were up against Druid, I believe. And in that situation, they play more like a control deck, and you need to outpressure their control. So every card matters. Whereas here, I feel like that's not so much the case. Really? That's it? So I guess we draw first. And I think we're okay with our Mech Warper dying, because again, he needs to spend a hero power. But we absolutely do not want him to get good Mech Warper value out of that. Oh, we're definitely in the driver's seat here. What can we do here? Can attack with Death Spite, see what pops out. I think that's our best course of action here. The Weblord. Huh. Alright, we'll draw a card. We could even finish off the Weblord, but the funny thing about the Weblord is it prevents him from playing a number of cards.
Battle detected.
So I think I might actually leave it up. Like, it prevents him from playing Blast Mage, of all things. So he can't just play, like coin Mech Warper, drop a Blast Mage. He can't play Azure Drake. Alright, let's draw another card. This does allow him to sacrifice his Blast Mage, but this is excellent draw, especially paired with the Death Spite. Do we have lethal here? We play both Frothing and Warsong. That's 7 minions on the board. So this Death Spite is worth 11. The Frothing puts us at 13, and then we have at least 2 more damage. That's 15. So we're not quite in lethal range yet. So I think I'm just gonna play the Noyotron, play the Jeeves, and just go face and posture for lethal next turn. I think it's still a far cry from dealing lethal damage.
Something needs tinkering? I am ready.
But we're very, very close. Okay, let's look at this again. We have up to 4 damage here. We play Frothing and Warsong, that's 9 damage, so the Death Spite is worth 13. 13 damage, plus the 2 from the Frothing's base attack, that's 15. 15 plus all that, I think we have lethal. So we play Warsong, we play Frothing, we hit with the Acolyte of Pain, we hit him here, and then what we do is we actually run the Anoyotrons into his bigger minions, because instead of dealing 1 damage, they're worth 2 now. Oh, we even have the Cog Master. That's like absolutely lethal. There we go. That's a nice way to end our final game, right? Hit him hard. Well, that was fun. See, Warsong Commander is kind of useful. It's useful for making highlight reel plays, but might not be good for climbing the ladder. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Like I said, I will be settling into a regular streaming schedule where it'll be Tuesdays and Thursdays, roughly 5 to 7. Sometimes I'll stream on the weekends too. Yeah, so if you enjoyed the stream, you can hit the follow button, and I also have a website in which a lot of my stuff will be posted. It's smesh.net/p/razor. There you'll be able to vote on polls that I put up. You'll be able to see my deck lists. I'm going to be adding some other fun stuff there. But anyways, I hope everybody enjoyed the stream, and I hope I'll see you guys around. All right, see ya.